Alright, this is going to be just a real quick video to kind of show you my thought process on how I attack the preterite and imperfect, and just how I go about coming to an answer and coming to whether it's preterite or imperfect. So if we look at this exercise, we have a sentence in English here, and we're going to translate them, and then we're going to indicate the tense we used and state the rule that we use to decide whether the verb should be preterite or imperfect. So if we look at the example or the model, if you will, it says it was very hot last night. And if I just had that, and I didn't have the answer there, what I would do is I would look at my my rules, or the instances in which we would use each tense. And I always start with preterite because there's fewer of them. So is it a block of time? Is it sequence of events? Is it an interrupting action? Or is it a completed action? So if we go back and look at this, it was hot last night. What's happening there? Is it a block of time? Yeah, it could be a block of time, last night. But what are we doing? What's the general purpose of that sentence? It was hot. So you're describing, and you're also using, you're describing the weather. So that's going to be imperfect. So for description and weather. So whenever you're talking about the weather, you're going to use the imperfect. So we would say we're using the imperfect here, and the rule is weather, or you could also say description, and then you'd translate it. Okay, so you'd say hacía mucho calor anoche. So let's try the first one together. It says I was sick yesterday. I was sick. So what do we do in that situation? Is it a block of time? Is there a block of time? Is it a sequence of events? Is it an interrupting action, completed action? Is there a block of time here? Yes. I could say yesterday is a block of time. We know it started yesterday and ended yesterday. So we could say that's preterite. So I would say the rule is block of time. And we're going to say preterite. And then I would just go ahead and translate it. Okay, I was sick. So I was is estar. So I would say estuve. Enfermo is sick. And then yesterday is ayer. And then you might say, wait, Mr. Brooks, you're using description here. You're using description because you're saying I was sick. You're describing me. I'm describing myself. This is true. And you'll find out with some of these, they could go either tense, depending on the perception that the speaker has at the moment, okay, and the emphasis that the speaker wants to put on it. So if the speaker is emphasizing the fact that they were sick, they're going to probably use the imperfect here. So if we look at the rule, it would be description. Okay, I'm describing myself. I was sick. So in that case, I would say estaba enfermo ayer. In which case, it would be, the rule would be description. And I would be using the imperfect. So this is kind of a tricky one. It could go either way. Most of them won't be like that. They'll be pretty obvious as to which way it can go. Let's do another one here. It says Marisa arrived at 3 o'clock. So I go to my rules. She arrived at 3 o'clock. So is this a block of time? No, not really. Sequence of events? No, it's only one thing happened. Interrupting actions? No, it can only be, it can't be interrupting actions because there's only one thing going on. It's a completed action? Yes, she arrived. It's an action that's completed. It happened once. So I would say that it's a completed action. That's the rule. I would say that it's preterite. And then I would translate it. So Marissa arrived at 3 o'clock. Start with her name, Marissa. To arrive is llegar. We'll put it in the third person. Llegó. And then at 3 o'clock, a las 3. It doesn't specify in the morning or in the afternoon, so I'm just going to leave it there. And that's basically how I attack these preterite versus imperfect. I look at the sentence, and then I look at the preterite first. Does it fall in one of these categories? If not, then it's probably going to be imperfect. And then that's basically how I go about it. So why don't you practice the rest on your own? We'll discuss your answers when I see you in class. Thanks for watching. Adios, chicos. Nos vemos luego.